Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic.
I'm Barry P. Cook, and I'm here to talk to you about the latest episode of Superman and Lois. I believe this is episode 3. It was called The Perks of Not Being a Wallflower, which is a takeoff on The Perks of Being a Wallflower. It starts off with a family moment where Clark and Lois and the boys are painting a room, it looks like, and choosing colors. And they say some silly things to each other, and then they break into like a paint fight where they're smearing each other with paint. But then all of a sudden, Clark hears a disaster taking place and flies off, or runs off and then flies off, at super speed to help these folks who are going to die if somebody doesn't help them, because they're on a bridge that's collapsing, a bridge that's heavy with vehicle traffic. Superman flies out there, and it turns out this is in China. So he flies all the way to China and somehow heard about this all the way from China. And of course, saves the day. The SFX, the special effects in this show are really great. So far, I know it's still early. There's always time for them to start to cut back on the SFX budget as the episodes go on, but as production goes on. But they did a great job with this episode. There's a scene where Superman holds up an entire span of a bridge that's kind of like the Golden Gate Bridge, and of course in China, and it's just really well done. So then he gets back to home, and they're having conversation about whatever, and Jordan ends up talking about how he accidentally blasted everybody with his laser eyes a couple of episodes before, and he refers to it as crazy ass laser eyes. He says something like, well, that's better than crazy ass laser eyes. And Clark has to correct him and just call it, he says, let's just call it heat vision. But I thought crazy ass laser eyes was funny. So, at this point, Jordan has started to go to school. And of course, he's still running into trouble with the big bad football player guy who is the boyfriend of the girl that Jordan obviously likes. And he's got him up against a locker, and he's giving him a hard time. And Jonathan comes over, and he steps in, and it's going badly. The sort of loggerheads that they're engaged in is getting more intense. And back at the farm, Clark can hear this, and he's seeing the audience is shown flashes of what's happening and what he's hearing. And in that moment, I could feel him sort of tense up and be like, oh, God, I want to help them, but I really can't, for a multitude of reasons. One, he's got to let them learn to fight their own battles. And two, he can't just fly over there as Superman and rescue, you know what I'm saying? It would just, first of all, it would be, well, I don't know. It would be disruptive to the school. I don't necessarily know that he would care about that. But I think it would also have maybe raised questions about, oh, how come Superman flew here to help these two guys? These little fights go on all the time at school. This is the first time Superman showed up. It would have raised questions. But he does, of course, go, but he goes as Clark. So I thought that was better than going as Superman. But I could feel him hesitating. And I thought that was, good that they made it obvious that he was torn as to what to do. Because he doesn't fly off right away, he kind of waits. But of course, the kids were displeased with this. At least they seem to be. But I'm liking this show, but I have to say it feels like they're spending way too much time on the kids. After the first episode in my review, I said, it's going to be interesting to see Clark/Superman deal with the trials and tribulations of fatherhood. We've never seen that with the character. And I think they've taken an interesting approach to Superman that hasn't been done before. They're showing him as, the family man. They took it out of Metropolis. It's back in Smallville. And he's running a family, managing a family. I think it's an interesting take. But, this episode, at least, they spent way too much time on the kids. And it's not a bad story. They're not doing a bad job with the story. It's not an uninteresting story. But I didn't tune in to watch, the Kent Family Drama Hour. I'm watching a Superman show. So, where's Superman? They had him in the beginning, but like, where is Superman? They showed the kids on the football field, which it was fun, and it was germane to the plot about how the kid is struggling with his identity and with making friends and so forth, and it's like teen drama stuff. But and I'm not opposed to that. I mean, I watched Riverdale. I'm still watching Riverdale. I watched the Adventures of Sabrina there and really liked that. But this isn't Riverdale. This isn't Sabrina. It isn't Dawson's Creek. Why are they focusing so much on the kids? The show came on at 9, and right before the 9:22 or so commercial break, this plot focusing on the kids was the last few minutes of the show before that break. And then it was the first several minutes after the break. Like, I don't understand that choice. That's not what I would have done if I were trying to make a balanced show that includes this aspect, but that isn't completely run by it. But we do get a quick scene with Lana and Clark where she spills the beans that, after they did the kid thing upon returning from the break. We do get a quick scene with Lana and Clark. She spills the beans that Jordan has started playing football. And then we go back to the kids. It just, this episode ping-ponged back and forth between scenes about the kids and scenes about other stuff, which is fine because that's how you're going to have balance. But the moments that they spent on the kids just went on, and the moments without the kids and them were fleeting. And gosh, I hope they don't continue that. I didn't tune in to watch, the Kent Family Drama Hour, as I said. I want to watch Superman. And it's to the detriment of other aspects of their overall story. Luther was not brought up. No minor crimes took place that Clark, Superman interrupted, except, when Lois sort of gets assaulted by that guy. There were no little minor accidents. There was just that one thing at the beginning, and then one other scene of him taking out a guy that was harassing Lois as she was investigating a story, which was the only real other plot of the episode, which was her story and her mission to take out this guy that's, out to sort of take advantage of the town. There was barely any Superman stuff, no Luther, no, big bad, not even any minor crimes for Superman to deal with. I was stunned, and I hope they don't continue this. There was another funny moment, though, again with the kids, where Jordan is talking about his experience at the fortress, and he calls Jor-El DeBarge, which is kind of funny. So they are having some funny moments with the kids. The lines are pretty good. There were a couple in the previous episodes of Jordan or Jonathan, I can't remember which, talking about Krypton stuff, or holograms was, I think, what he said. It was very funny. But yeah, so then it was the scene where Clark or Superman ends up helping Lois. She's being menaced by this guy, and she pulls out her Superman beeper, and he says, that won't help you. And she says, no, he will. And I'm like, wait, what? What the hell was that? Why aren't they talking about it afterwards? And I wrote that down because this guy trashes Superman. Like, I mean, Superman ultimately prevails, but this guy is Kryptonian, apparently, or whatever, and can take Superman in a fight, almost. So, damn. But then they don't talk about it. The episode goes on, and Clark doesn't mention it, doesn't say, gee, I wonder what the hell that was. Nothing. Doesn't go to the fortress to ask Jor-El, what the hell was that? Nothing. Doesn't talk about it. Nobody mentions it. Lois doesn't mention it. Very strange. If that had happened on Supergirl, there would have been a conversation. So I found that weird. Because I want to know who the hell it is, right? And they don't have to necessarily, they didn't, I wasn't thinking they had to reveal it immediately, but having the characters wonder who the hell it is would have been interesting. Would have made sense. No, they don't bring it up. But then you see this guy driving in his car down the road, I guess away from the scene where Superman ultimately kicked his ass. And he's talking on the phone, and he says, no, the Kryptonian, or no, he doesn't say the Kryptonian. He says, Kal-El or something ended up saving the woman, because Lois was there to meet with a woman about the story she's writing, and the guy had taken her out, but Lois interrupted him, I guess, and he was saying to whoever his boss that, no, I didn't finish the mission. Superman showed up and saved her. So he says, but what's Lar gonna do about it? Or what's Lar's next move? And I'm like, Lar? Who the hell is Lar? Well, we find out because she shows up and stops this guy right in his tracks on the road by standing in front of his car, and she heat visions him to death right through the windshield of his car. So yeah, that was an interesting development. Now there's two of them. So she then gets on the phone and says, it's done, or whatever, I took care of him, or whatever. And that's where the episode ends. So I was like, what in the world was that? So I went and did a little digging, and apparently this Lar character is Leslie Lar. And that is a version of Lesla Lar from the comics. In the comics, Lesla Lar is a Kryptonian from Kandor. And she spent some time pretending to be Supergirl in the comic books and fooled some people. Including, I think, Superman. So that's who this character is. She's an enemy of Supergirl in the comics. So we're going to see what they do with that. Now, it turns out that the other guy is called Subject 11, Subjekt, which is, I guess, a takeoff on Subject 17, which was a character in the comic books, a very powerful, tortured alien who I guess Superman ends up dealing with in the comic books. And by tortured, I mean by like scientists kind of thing. He was experimented on and whatever. But Subject 11's gone, so I guess it was just a brief sort of Easter egg type of thing. But anyway, that's the origin, it looks like. But what I want to know is, where were they all this time? And I say all this time because Supergirl has been on for 5 seasons, and it's the same universe. So, and that's true even before the crisis, before the worlds merged, because she and Superman were on the same Earth. So where were these people? Supergirl deals with other Kryptonians and other aliens in the first couple seasons. Well, through all the seasons, but in the first couple seasons, she deals with the other Kryptonians that have her same powers. Non is one of them. I forget the other lady's name, who was in Superman 2. And I think Zod. I don't remember Zod for sure. I couldn't swear on that. But so we know those people were around. So it's not surprising that there are these, other super characters around, that Lar is there, for example. But where was she when Supergirl Kara was dealing with all these people? Maybe they're going to explain that. Maybe they won't. And if they don't, I'll be annoyed. Maybe they're from another universe, like this version of Luthor is. I don't know. But I hope they explain it, because otherwise it'll seem kind of weird. Like, why didn't they come up before? I mean, we know why they didn't come up before, but given that they didn't use them before, why did they bring them up now? It's a writing choice that you shouldn't make, because it brings up questions, such as, where were they all this time? But I'm continuing to like this show. As I said, I hope they start to spend less time on the kids going forward. I don't mind an entire episode now and then that's focused on the kids and the family stuff, but let's make it 1 out of 8, 1 out of 10. Let's not do this every week. And let's get into the Luthor thing. They introduced him, and then they sort of just left it. They dropped it. So I don't know. I don't like that. But we'll have to wait till next week to see what they do next. I will be back, of course, with a review. Until then, I leave you saying peace and long life.